lesser key
Volume
of
1,
Sadakandras.
Volume 2.
What
Where's
nonsense.
the third one
Is there
gone?
no new book to be discovered in this library?
Omnes autem mali demonis quam.
What? What is this? Who are you to interrupt my musings? By Naga the Protector, they have the manners of boors, these boatmen of Sicil.
Teleron will have to pay yet
Oh,
another
but perhaps I spoke too soon. Perhaps I was mistaken. For you hardly resemble the local fisher folk, which, incidentally, is a compliment of copious dimensions indeed.
bottom. Stenticken. Esmeralda
No.
does have a...
A source hunter, that is what you are. Yes, a stalker of sorcery, a chaser of charms pernicious. In truth, I cannot go so far as to say it is a pleasure to make your acquaintance, for I take no pleasure in the company of man. But it may just be to our mutual advantage to join forces nonetheless.
The knight in see-through armor.
Why? Simply because you hunt source, and I, Jehan, hunt demons. You are aware, of course, that quite often both of these pests frequent the same shadowy pools of infamy. Now, I hate what I hunt, but I respect its cunning. Should I not, I'd have been decimated, body and soul, long since.
Where's the third one gone? Shatsu. Sometimes I think these books sprout little legs.
This is a sentiment I'm quite certain you must recognize. Let there be strength in cunning, yes, but also in numbers. The calculus of wizardry I offer you, the might of the magician's mastermind.
Kajdanor. A brief history of sorcery.
On
still
one
haven't-
condition, that on our joint travels we will never deal with demonic entities, no matter how tempting their propositions. Give me your word on this, and I'll weave you spells.
Shatsu. Sometimes I think
I was inclined to agree with Jehan, but it would appear my colleague and I are not of the same mind.
Oh, simple souls. Oh, doomed spirits. What tangled webs you'd weave. But I won't be a fly to be caught in them. Begone. Reflect. The Source Hunter. Have you come?
Shatsu. Sometimes I think these books sprout little legs in the night. In the name of Amun-Hor, I bid thee Tujda Geta Hal, be welcome, human. My library is yours, as I hope your friendship is mine. I am Victoria, daughter of Mayor Cecil. Oh, I know what you're thinking. The likeness isn't exactly striking, is it? When I was very young, you see, I must have been cast out by my tribe, for I was found in a wicker basket floating past Sicil toward the sea. The fisherman who found me would have drowned me on the spot, for I am an orc after all. But praise be Amun-Hor, dear Cecil was among the gathered crowd, and he took pity on the exiled infant that chance had put in his way. He raised me like I was his own, this kindest of souls, taught me the language of men, their customs and their letters. Thus, I became the city's librarian, a position I uphold with no small diligence and pride.
Discovered in this
Indeed
library.
you may. The wisdom I here hoard is yours to peruse and even take with you. All I can ask is that you return the books you borrow so that others may enjoy them too.
The lesser key of Sadakandras.
Tujageta, friend.
Demonum. And the first edition too. Most promising.
A source hunter! Oh, what a sight for sore Sicilian eyes! Me? I live alone here in town. Used to be that my younger brother Tom and I were practically joined at the hip, but that's all changed now. Oh, he's always been something of a rascal, calling his petty hooliganism adventuring and endlessly worrying my poor mind. Oh, but of course, I've always loved that scamp to bits.
Monum, and the first
For my
edition.
part, I encouraged him to join the Legion. Even got him sparring with Captain Orius now and then. But then those blasted Fabulous Five came into town.
Demonology for dumbbells. Ugh.
That band of... I don't even know what to call them. Well, they're his heroes, and I simply couldn't prevent him from going to see them. That one meeting was all it took for Tom to run off with them on some mission to God knows where.
G for dumbbells. Ugh.
I need something more advanced.
Potions to bemuscle you, scrolls to entussle you.
You must have fought many of
Move
them,
along.
am I right? I bet you're a real war hero.
Oh, I'm no hero, Esmeralda dearest. Legion's greetings. I have been informed about your heroics on the beach. Were that I had been there to partake in the battle. But my duties lie here, sworn as I am to protect Lady Esmeralda from the rabble that would enforce summary justice on her, even though she is, until proven guilty, wholly innocent. I am Septimus, seventh son in a household of 9, legionnaires all. Me and 2 brothers of mine were assigned to Sicile from day 1. Alas, both of them have long since fallen in battle against the dead. But never shall I lose heart. Long as a single legionnaire stands, all of us remain undefeated in the eyes of the gods. So fair a lady I have seldom seen in all of Riverlon, my friend. And I have traveled more extensively than migratory birds do. She stands accused of murder, but in my mind, her presumed guilt is a fallacy, and indeed a fabrication. Steadfast will I guard her. Never will I waver unless absolute proof of her culpability should be brought before me. And I hold no such proof exists. Jake's murder is, in a word, a tragedy. He was well loved in all of Sicile. The Council of 7 couldn't have wished for a better ambassador. That he of all people should have braved the undead siege for so long, only to be felled by foul sorcery, is heartrending. And what questions are those? The Sicilians used to say this was a chosen place, favored by the higher powers. But they don't talk like that much these days. Hard to feel favored with such horrors haunting every border, I imagine. Don't even mention those rotten carcasses to me. They're the reason we've been stuck in this dead-end town for nigh on 2 bloody years. All fun and games in the beginning, but just you lose a couple of friends fighting those fiends. Get used to lousy rations and have but drink and dice for entertainment. And you'll soon come to realize that out of hundreds of cohorts the world round, yours drew the short straw. Legion's greetings, Hunter. And what questions are those?
My, what a strong
Leave me be, I have a job to do.
Optimus, you must have fought many a battle, am I right? In fact, I bet you're a real war hero.
Oh, I'm no hero, Esmeralda, dearest. I'm just doing my duty, you know, for the Legion.
Well, you certainly... Lords above, grant me patience. You're a source hunter, aren't you? Here because you think I killed my husband. How many times do I need to state and restate my complete innocence in the matter? I am Esmeralda, wife of Jake, and now, alas, his widow. Poor man. We were both so young when we married. He so rich and I so poor. But his one and only princess just the same. Like I told just about every legionnaire in town, I don't know anything about poor Jake's murder. I want his killer found and tried, but everyone suspects me of this evil deed. And you're no different, are you? So what happened? Some of them tittle-tattling crab chasers down the pub call me a murderous gold digger and you believe them? These insinuations truly go beyond the pale. Oh, I think I'm getting one of my headaches.
Well, what do you want to know? Since the beginning, this has been a particularly favoured region of Rivellon. Even before there was a major settlement here, these cliffs were a special holy site for the ancient pagans. It's hard to believe our great city is so easily crumbled. Sometimes I forget they're even out there, to be honest. Remember above all to stay behind the wall, we tell our children. And when you've been heeding your own advice for seasons on end, you almost start to forget what the fuss was about in the first place. Better not to, though. They're still out there, the dead, and from the looks of it, they'll always be. She seems to be quite adamant about her innocence. We'll need to look for evidence if we want to prove she actually did the evil deed.
Snake, wing of worm,
Performers, showmen, show all of them. Sight seal what you're made of. But fear of flatulence.
One coin or two, noble spirit? One coin or two? Oh, I am a happy man, and certainly a humble one now. It turns out losing it all has its own share of benefits. Ah, a fool once was I. and ever seeking greater satisfaction than that which I already enjoyed. In my folly, I sought the counsel of those notorious Watcher statues on the Western Cliffs. Their guidance ruined any small fortune I might have had, but certainly granted me humility. I'd heard they were not to be trusted, that they gave fools' advice to the fools who sought them, but somehow I believed that I was the exception. They told me that I would find fame and renown if I renounced my worldly possessions, all my worldly possessions, and became a great figure of piety and humility. Fire, the most thorough cleanser, was my method. But as my house burned in front of me, I felt no elevation, no piety, only the sudden weight of my own idiocy upon my very soul. May the soul of Astarte smile upon you, kind strength. Thank you, kind one.
So those statues told him he'd have to renounce his earthly possessions to become a spiritual leader, did they? Right. I'm not going to throw my things on a pyre in the hope that the stench of my burning trousers will please an ill-defined spirit.
Can you spare a coin?
I wouldn't venture too far out of town if I were you. Many legionnaires did so before you. Very few have returned. Or whose invention? The stasis blaster. It's quite a sight, no? The ray can singe a zombie or skeleton to ash in a matter of seconds. These days, we legionnaires hold a lottery to see who gets to man the things. You can bet it's no small amount easier to blast those flesh-eating monstrosities from a distance than to get within striking range. Don't ask me how the blaster works, though. I just make sure the thing's hitting its targets. Beyond these walls, the dead roam free, Hunter. Be vigilant. Oh, it never ends around.
Salutations!
So, the wizard's crafted a device intended to keep the undead at bay, has he? Little did he expect we'd recognize the hulking source sapphire he's using to fuel it. Careful now, comrades, and tread lightly. There's no telling when that madman's doomsday device might gain sentience and turn its rays on us. Oh, to be met with such derision by my own comrade. Let me tell you a little something about. You know, if I recall correctly, a source sapphire does have a particular sheen about it. Yes, and I think that in fact an authentic source sapphire buzzes with the trapped souls of 1,000 innocents too. Perhaps. Well, no matter if this particular gemstone is innocuous, the principle remains.
I wouldn't venture too far.
That was sloppier than Sicilian stew. Again! Murder within the walls? Attention!
That's it, troops. Train up while you can. The next orcish strike plan at any moment.
Ice blue eyes narrow beneath a heavy brow streaked with sweat and dust. Her hands tense into claws, held at the ready.
Her brow knits together, but something in her pose relaxes. She clears her throat.
Sloppier than Sicilian stew.
I am Bear Daughter. I have not come here to find trouble with the Screech woman. She only startled me. And you are a source hunter. I have heard many tales of your order. Your history is long and honorable.
Again!
This woman here, the one who now plots her revenge, she crept behind me while I was hunting, and I only defended myself. I would not hurt an innocent Screech woman on purpose. But soon their swords were upon me, and they forced me into this cage meant for dogs. Mother would rip the fur from her chest if she could see how they keep me.
You don't think it's infected, do you?
Come on now, I pulled her off you before she could do any real damage.
Sorry, sir.
Any real damage? Are you joking? I've been mauled. I'll be disfigured for life.
Come on with the dramatics. It's not as bad as all that.
The face, Furious. She bit me in the face.
Look on the bright side. Everyone knows the ugly soldiers are the most ferocious.
Ugly'll be the least of it. The beast looks rabid.
In that case, you'll have the pleasure of putting her down yourself.
I wish for you to try it, Screech woman.
The beast speaks? So you've half a brain behind that feral maul, have you?
The cretin's question crossed her lips and aced an air of aptitude.
Hey, Tull, I think that was an insult.
Don't pay attention to the beast, Furious. You'll only encourage it. Hey, who's that then? Come on, stand where my good eye can see you.
Easy, Tull. That's the source hunter you're talking to.
She may have the look of a woman if you squint hard enough, but she's no more than a wild animal. We got reports of a strange-looking outsider skulking through the town with her bow drawn. I found her crouched behind a tree, taking aim at a fat old rat trotting along the city walls. I tapped her on the shoulder to see what was what, and the beast startled like a wild cat and lunged right at me.
Bit Tullia right in the face, she did. It wasn't pretty, and now it's got a chunk ripped off it to boot.
Enjoy it while you can, Ver. There's not another legionnaire in the cohort that'll have you if I go rabid.
Well, that's to be decided. She doesn't seem to be sick, despite Tully's moaning. We can't keep her here forever, but we can't well send her into the wilds again, can we?
That was sloppier than Sicilian stew. Again!
After all, a fearless hunter might prove quite useful for our investigation.
Well, that's a relief, ain't it? We found a good home for her after all, Tull.
Heed me, Source Hunter. She's not good for anything more than cannon fodder. And don't turn your back on her when she's got that bow within arm's reach.
You say you will take me under your wing, but I see no feathers. Are you a child of the birds, as I am of the bears? In truth, this is a relief. Your world is made with rules I have not yet memorized. I am happy to have a friend in such a place. And so the lonely babe was fed upon the wild mother's milk, and cast aside from humankind, he thrived among his mother's ilk. So says the saga of Threes. Do you know it? The wise godwolf Amira raised the child Threes among her litter. So you see, I have good company. Threes the wolfson, and I the bear daughter. Ask freely, my friend. Your city is far more wild than Home Forest. In Home Forest, the rules are clear. In Home Forest, your strength and speed determine your fate.
You think that's funny, Private? Sir, no, sir. Those books will embarrass a brick's drum. Get to shining recruits.
Sorry, sir. Here, a tiny screech woman, no swifter than a mudworm, might confine you into a tiny cage, and one must wait for a kind stranger to grant freedom. Jarrett, wise Jarrett, taught me the bird songs of our people. If not for him, I would never have learned more than the beasts could teach me. A beast's life is to survive. A human's is to know. I am both beast and human, and so I must do both. I have learned all the bird song that Jarrett could teach. I remembered every word. These tales have brought me much pleasure. The remembering of the beasts is without lies. We know not to approach the wasp's nest because long ago one bear mother discovered its dangers. This she taught to her cubs, and those cubs taught the next.
Than Sicilian stew. Again!
We do not remember Rito and the Battle of the Buzzing Brutes. We remember only what is useful to us now. Rito will be forgotten. The beauty of the story will be forgotten. But the lesson will not. It is different between beasts and humans. I am lucky to enjoy both ways. He came to me when I was small. A fierce, wild one, yet unaware of the difference between the other cubs and herself. He called to me in a soft song. At first I thought him a great bird. We each reached out to the other. We found each other. Jarrett visited me often. And in time I learned his songs and more. When he built a small cabin within Home Forest, I hunted his food and fetched his water by day while he studied his books and his magics. By night, by the fire, he'd tell me tales of the world of people. Jarrett is my master and my friend, my teacher and myself. He teaches me and I care for him. I heard this was a place of many people, so here I came. I have seen more faces here in a day than I had seen in all the days of my life together. But I have not found the face I seek. Jarrett is missing. It is my duty to find him. That mystery is thick and ugly as a swarm of hornets. It started with a great disturbance in Home Forest. A terrible disease came in the night and turned the birds and beasts soft and foul as carrion while they still lived. I watched countless of my loved ones die, rotted from the inside. When I ran to Jarrett to tell him what I had seen, his reaction was strange. He had no answer. The next morning, Jarrett did not emerge from his room. I left him be, but after 3 days I grew anxious. I broke down the door and inside his chamber was nothing. His equipment, his books, all but some scraps of parchment were gone. He was kidnapped and all his research was taken with him. The only clue I found was a letter among the scraps. I could not make out all the words, but I recognized the threat. Death, coming for you. And the signature? Attenborough. I do not know the one called Attenborough, but I know that if I am to find Jarrett, I must start there. Whoever this Attenborough may be, I believe he or she may know where Jarrett has been taken. Source Hunter. I have heard tales both grand and terrible about the world of humans. I myself was caged one moment and freed the next by our kind.
About face!
In Home Forest, every creature acts according to the nature of its kind. Birds frighten easily, badgers fear little. But amongst men, there are no guarantees.
Attention! About face! To the barracks! March!
It is strange to stand with one foot in the forest and the other in the city, Source Hunter. I am glad that now I have you standing beside me, even if one burns hot while the other wheezes cold. Perhaps in time I will come to know my own kind as you have, and perhaps then I will decide for myself whether ours is a noble kind.
Attention! About face! To the barracks! March!
What have we here, then? A so-called source hunter, eh? Well, look, do what you must in Sicil, but don't make waves and don't interfere with the Legion's affairs, you hear? I'm Captain Aureus, if you must know, leader of the Legion in Sicil, by which I mean I have the enviable task of commanding a battalion of walking dead. For I fear it may well be but a matter of time before the undead undo all my soldiers and turn them into driveling hordes of their own misshapen number. Gods above! Some politician snuffs it and everyone's in an uproar. Ridiculous! I told that wizard brat of an Ahu not to bother, but he just had to send for source hunters, didn't he? Bloody magicians. They see a pigeon poop and think sorcery's afoot. Nevertheless, I want to be kept in the loop, understand? I am in command of this town, not Mayor Cecil, not Ahu, and definitely not some hotshot source hunter. So investigate Jake's death if you feel so inclined, but report back to me the moment you discover something out of the ordinary. The scene of the crime is over at the King Crab Inn. You can tell the guard you have my permission to enter. Now off with you! Esmeralda is Jake's wife. Well, widow. Everyone in town, down to the crabs on the beach, is convinced she killed him. Now, the girl has the reputation of being a flirt. There is that. But that doesn't suffice as evidence, wouldn't you say? Or do source hunters rely on hearsay alone, perhaps? That certainly would explain some of the cock-ups you lot have made in the past. What? You're going to stand there and claim with a straight face your order never wrongly tortured and executed anyone? Hardly. But I won't stand for such nonsense. If you bring evidence before me, I'll evaluate it with perfect objectivity. The Legion relies on reason, see? Not idle superstition. If you must. Bravo! Figured that one out, did you? I haven't been stuck here for 2 years because we're being besieged by fluffy kittens, you know. Those brain-feasting freaks out there keep on coming. And it takes all the sword arms and all of Ahu's half-baked contraptions to keep them at bay. Keeping them at bay, that is all we do. Were that I could break their backs once and for all. How am I enjoying it? Are you spoiling for a fight, Hunter? Are you? Sicil stinks of fish, reeks of orcs, and on a good day the wind disperses the stench of decomposing corpses. I can't remember the last time I had a proper piece of steak, and by now I retch at the mere sight of sardines. So in conclusion, I am not enjoying Sicil. We are the pride of Rivellon, to be found and to be seen everywhere. We don't hide in the dark and lurk in corners like some I could mention. No, we protect the civilized from the barbaric, and we do so impeccably. I'd say they're looking for weak spots in our defenses. They can't make an attack over land for fear of Ahu's magical machines, so they're trying their luck by sea. They won't succeed, though. Not against the Legion. Yes, and he also spends most of his time in the guise of a cat, licking God's knows which body parts. Sects, sorcerers. He'll be seeing flying carpets next. Ah, the Source Hunter. Oh, joyous.
How can I help you, my friend? But certainly. What would you like to know? Oh, I am but a wizard, a guardian of man and beast, and indeed I am both. My body, like any other, is bound to temporal decay. But my spirit is a speck of light that shone forth from the eternal sun that is the cosmic soul. My task upon this earth is to protect the heart of nature, the very antithesis of which is the intrigue spun by demons and directors of the dead. Hence my involvement in Scycial. You see, my one desire is to witness a world in which every mother looks around her and purrs with calm contentment, for she knows that her chicks or children, her cubs or calves, will grow up without knowing the meaning of menace, the enfeeblement of fear. To my great regret, none of them purr as yet. Oh, but that's not a trick. It's a blessing. Or does it surprise you that I enjoy taking a feline guise? Such magic is a gift, Hunter. To tread upon the realm of instinct, even articulate speech, perhaps humanity's greatest asset, cannot give expression to something so inextricably innate. To be out in the night, to stalk on silent paws and hunt with only the moon as your witness, you couldn't possibly imagine the thrill. But of course it's handy to speak in more than meows. And I couldn't brew potions or make machines without opposable thumbs, this I freely admit. Let's just say I have found a way to enjoy the best of two worlds. Oh, that'll never happen. Granted, a witch could make the polymorph permanent if she'd enchant me in my cat guise, but I'll just have to be careful around witches, won't I? I'm my own wizard, you know, and I don't intend to become anyone's familiar. By all means. Of course. I hope your investigation fares well. I can but piece together what few morsels fell from the grapevine into a rather disappointing meal, I'm afraid. They say a woman arrived in the King Crab Inn sometime after midnight. She retired to a room on the ground floor where she was soon joined by a man who had been nursing the same cup of wine for hours. I say man and woman because both of them were cloaked and recognized by none. About an hour later, another figure arrived, headed for the same room. Soon after, a terrible commotion erupted and the thundering light of magic was witnessed by the few remaining patrons. It took a while for the landlord to pluck up the courage to enter the mystery room. When finally he did, he found Jake there, dead. How and why he came to be there, no one knows. but I had a good look around the scene of the crime before the Legion barred anyone from entering. The traces of magic I felt were vile. Source, no doubt. I myself have none, even though the rest of the town has already mentally tried and convicted Jake's wife Esmeralda. Now, it may well be established that she is in fact the guilty party. I'm not claiming that I'm certain she's innocent, but let's just say that if I really thought this murder case would be so very easily resolved, I wouldn't have sent for source hunters. I can't say much more, but that they're madmen, all the more dangerous to us because of their alliance with what should be a natural enemy. You won't see me teaming up with a terrier in a hurry. And what might those be? Those who are raising the dead dwell among us. They simply must be. But even though I've spent many a night leaping from tree to rooftop, watching on as citizens stagger home from the inn or simply burn the midnight oil, I haven't spied a single soul worthy of true suspicion. The enemy is wily. They know us better than we know them, and they've found ways to avoid both detection and distrust. And yet, I am somehow convinced that you may succeed where the Legion and I have failed. Call it instinct. You have a flair for understatements, Hunter. I'm sure they are but a minor nuisance in the eyes of a born warrior. But to the Legion, they are green-skinned death incarnate. Until they conclude what mischief they intend to see through, or, less likely, they are conclusively defeated, we can but bar the gates and hole up like mice while the cats are on the prowl. Oh, a mere trifle for one with the intellect of a feline and the engineering skills of a human. You basically construct a classic ballista, add a 100% legally obtained self-regenerating source of destructive magic to it, and Bobcat's your uncle.
As good as a new penny. Into the fray once more.
Sorry, sir.
Greetings! These stalls are for our Legion troops. Riverlong's finest work up mighty fine appetite serving the seven. You're a source hunter, aren't you? They...
Don't let that rooster escape! He's already on the menu for tonight!
Wait a minute! I don't want to see this poor chicken here slaughtered. I want him free! 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 I bet you'd make an even tastier roast than that chicken. All right, we'll do it your way.
Why did you let my chicken escape? Looks like it's your lucky day, Jack. Now to tell the troops they're getting nothing but the cornbread.
These stalls are for our Legion troops. Rivellon's finest work up mighty fine appetite, serving the seven.
I'm warm as...
Murder within the wall.
Drink and gum.
I'm overheating here. Feeling hot under the collar.
Now, where is my pepper? Did it sprout less and run away? Ah, yeah.
Looks like that dog is awfully agitated. I don't have the right... Perhaps he wants to tell us something.
So many dead civilians.
I
It's
don't
an
have the
honor
right
to
tool
visit
for
the
digging.
fallen.
I don't have the right
But theirs
tool
is
for
not
digging.
a sad fate, I think. To join the grass, to become food for the
May
trees
the
and
seven
flowers.
keep you.
What could be more peaceful?
May the seven keep you.
May the fever bend!
Try to resist this, worm.
May the seven keep you. May the seven keep you. Rest in peace, darling.
Peace be with you, traveller. May your lost loved ones rest in peace. I once lived a prosperous life with my husband and our happy little daughter, Loni. But when the undead plague broke out, my dear husband was among the first killed. Loni never recovered from the loss. And when a group of mercenaries, predators, more aptly called, came to town dangling the opportunity to annihilate those undead devils, Loni lapped up their rhetoric and joined without so much as a backward glance. She was killed less than a week after she joined. Here she lies, and here I stand, mourning the death of my last joy.
Here lies David, who ran from the Reaper. You'll never catch me alive.
Rest in peace, darling.
Beats too slowly to sustain me. You were right there.
May the seven keep you. Rest in peace, darling.
sun is out. And yet, I feel a cold inside my soul.
Say, no one's around. You wouldn't raise a fuss if I, borrowed one of these fish, would you?
Borrow indeed. I'll sooner meet a cat wizard than see that merchant repaid.
Come now, I'll be good for it, I swear. Oh, my story's tired by now. I was happy enough, prosperous enough, before these lean times around Sicil began. Still, that doesn't waive a man's need to eat, you know. I never would have dreamt of resorting to petty theft during better times, but what choice have I got now? If it's steal or starve, I'll choose steal. So what do you think? Should I snag a fish?
Delicious dogfish. Yours for a scrap of gold each.
Sure, everyone needs a hand, but who are we to offer the merchant's hand without his consent? He should leave the fish be.
Perfect for a fry-up.
If you encourage thievery, I'll have to treat you as I would any common criminal.
Watch the undead quiver in their moldy boots.
No, we'll do as I.
That's the spirit! Oh, shit.
Sir, did you just steal that fish?
No, I paid for it.
You were a witness to this.
This man is telling the truth. He paid for that fish fair and square. Quite so. I saw him pay the merchant.
I can't thank you enough for your,
Well, sorry to have bothered you then, sir.
No better solution to the zombie problem than a set of silver arrows.
Sorry, but I haven't the time for chatter. These days, a moment's inattention is all a thief needs to snatch my livelihood out from under me. The dead are on the prowl, the council has been murdered, and now source hunters are encouraging petty theft. The few honest amongst us are swimming against the stream, I'll tell you.
Well, what sort of arrows do you want? Freezing? Silk?
Not the moon for cheese. That excuse is more home than a slice of the...
That thief is free for now, but I wonder how long it'll be until his growling belly seduces him back onto the crooked path. I can understand your sympathy for that man, but feeding him for one day will hardly remedy his circumstances. You would have done better to help him more substantially than by covering up a single petty theft.
I feel. Now, that's a set.
Please be that out here.
What are ye staring at?
Captain Jack's the name, though the title may be a little generous at the moment. My crew ran off, and I can't find enough hearty souls to help me reload the ship and sail off. Those scallywags heard there be silver in the Lacula mines, and they abandoned ship like the lily-livered turkeys they are. Haven't seen them since the day we docked.
Red and orange, yellow and green, the finest veggies.
Ah, hello, proportionate one. Oh, I can see from the symmetry in your face that you are a great fan of the fine arts, no? I'm a painter by trade, as you can see, but a cartographer at heart. You might think there isn't enough work for one of my talents in a downtrodden city like Sicil, and you'd be quite right. I travel around Ambervale, mastering my craft and finding new subjects to add to my litany of lovely portraits and complex maps. Like this rooster I'm working on now, and the landscape that surrounds him.
About time the council...
No better solution.
Not in the mood.
Here for your daily serving of veggies.
Let a slice of this fine.
Dearest customer, I've never...
Sauce hunters, eh? All right, proper, we're finally getting a hand. Things is chaos. If you've got a favourite sheep, best to fry her up now before she gets thieved in the night like me dear plump Ogget, the finest in me herd. Now that the herd's gone, old Birchie's just scratching by like a hen till the next batch of beasties comes through. I recently sold most of the tender loves to a trader heading north. Plenty of business that way these days. Those miners must be preparing for a mighty great feast. Wish I could have a nibble on my dear darlings, all ground and spiced. Yes. Oh, Ogget's been missing for more than a fortnight. I love that sheep, you know. Was planning to cook her into a fine midwinter night haggis myself. Do tell me if you hear anything about her. I plan on pursuing whoever stole her with my cleaver in hand.
Dearest customer,
Careful, comrades. I've seen sorcerers infuse even lowly fowl with dark enchantments.
Nonsense, venerable one. Those are only chickens. And plump, juicy ones at that.
lonesome, spiritless. Perhaps wrestling an earth elemental will inject some vim into your routine.
Watch the undead quiver in their mouldy boots. Red and orange, yellow and green, the finest veggies size fields ever seen.
Tell me, Alistair, have you ever had the fortune of challenging the fabled wizard of Hunter's Edge?
Greetings, Source Hunter. Not exactly the friendliest bloke, the captain, is he? Well, your reward for getting your ear chewed off is a waltz through the town's finest magical murder scene. Enjoy.
What happened? Is this a dream? I don't think so. That stone, somehow it sent us flying into the stars.
words, what's this? 2 Rivalonians here? At the end of space and time? How very, very, very curious. Oh, yes. Proper introductions. Zixex the historian at your service. It is my job to record all that was and is and, hopefully, all that is to be. As for how I got here, well, for a historian appointed by the gods themselves, hopping to the end of time is as easy as 1, 2, 3. How you got here, though? That's a rather more interesting question. On such a tiny and rapidly shrinking vestige of space and time, I wouldn't have expected to find a soul but my own shadow. At last, a question I can answer most definitively. I mentioned already that this place is the end of time. If that didn't send your heart into your stomach and your pulse a-flutter, it should have. Time ought naturally to have no end at all. Indeed, I can think of no worse nightmare for a chronicler such as myself. But something totally, utterly terrible has happened. Show, don't tell, I always say. So go, peer through yonder looking lens and feast your soon-to-be terrified eyes on the darkness that is approaching.
You know, I think that imp might be quite mad.
You looked. You saw. Terrifying, isn't... What's this? The portal. It's... The portal has become active. Fantastic. The portal. It's quite sprung to life, just like the long, dormant flames that decorate this observatory. After all my waiting and hoping, could it be? You, dear stranger, you must be the key. Something about your presence here is causing the end of time to grow. The true end itself to move further away. Those torches, a light! This portal active once more! It cannot be coincidence. Goodness me, how right you are. There's so much to take in, I'd nearly forgotten. And what you saw has been haunting my mind since I first discovered it. It is the void itself. The dragon that is devouring creation. When I speak of the end of time, this is exactly what I mean. I can't say for sure where it came from, how or why, but I do know this. It's shrinking our future by the second. And if we don't stop it, it will devour the past and present as well. It's not that I believe, it's that I have seen. Long have I been waiting here, hoping that one day this very portal would ignite. Then, no longer than a few mere moments after you arrive, zap it goes. The chronicler of time knows a pattern when he sees one. Though I cannot cannot say for certain. If it is what I believe, then our prayers might well be answered. In fact, every last question that ever plagued your noggin might well be answered, for I believe what lies beyond this portal is nothing other than... But why spoil the mystery? As soon as we leap through, we'll find out for certain. After you. Oh, what wonders we may find on the other side. You first, but don't dilly-dally.
And he's off. It seems the imp has spotted exactly who and what he'd hoped to find here.
Could it be, milady? The weaver of time? Mother of history? Author of all that has ever been?
Indeed, Sir Imp. As surely as you are he who chronicles all that I weave.
Astounding! Unbelievable! I have so many questions for you, so much to ask, so much to say.
You have brought guests, I see. Strange. Very strange guests.
My reaction exactly, milady. It was their arrival here at the end of time that instigated my finding you. But why? Surely you must know.
This is a question better put to our guests themselves. Tell us, how did you arrive upon this plane? A stone? So, it was a stone that caused the great shock of energy that brought you here, and it infused you with new life as well. Is that so? Not like this, no. What happened to you is unique in all my work. Never had I experienced something so contrary to my nature. To weave something I had not seen, had not expected. Life does not simply spring into existence, you see. But yours has. You appeared before me from the moment you came into contact with that stone. Starstone. I now know it to be called.
But, Madam Weaver, how is it possible? Do you not see all? Have you not woven all that is and could ever be into your tapestry?
Like the stones, your guests are a mystery to me. I see them before me in this world, but their likenesses appeared not upon my tapestry until they revived the stone. Source Hunters, it would seem that yourselves and Starstone are inextricably linked. Why and how, I cannot say, but I do believe that finding more stones will reveal to me who you yourselves truly are. Starstone is not what it seems, Source Hunter. Its true nature must be part of a greater secret, a secret lost even to me. Do you see what violence my work has suffered? What wounds lay upon the tapestry of time?
Mysteries of all time, gaps in history. Oh, how they've tormented me for eons.
It would appear that Starstone transforms at your touch, granting me new thread by which to mend the tapestry. Thus, it restores time itself.
I see. What the void would shrink, Starstone restores.
Yes. Though I cannot explain why this Starstone is the antidote to the void's ravishment of our realm. If we do not restore time, if we do not discover the true nature of these stones, the void will consume us all. Indeed you must, though I may not yet understand why. It seems that you and you alone can unlock the powers within Starstone. Yet we are not the only entities who know these stones to be so much more than pretty gems.
Why, of course, that's what they were doing. I have recorded their doings, you see. Collectors of Starstone, more and more by the day. Now I understand. They'd keep the stones from our reach. They'd prevent the mending of time.
Without these stones, Hunter, there will be no Rivellon. The entire tapestry will crumble. Even this plane will fall victim to the void's insatiable hunger.
That shall never be, milady. As sure as Zix comes before Zax, we will put a stop to it. First we mend the tapestry, then we stop the void. Please, our most mysterious guest, are you ready? Are you willing? Will you hunt out the stones? Will you help us restore what has been lost?
Not but a moment ago, we were hunting Source in Rivellon, and now we're being told that we alone can prevent the end of time by way of some magical stones. What do you make of it?
Source Hunter, do tell! So, what do you think, Source Hunter?
We can't deny our reaction to Starstone. There must be something to all of this, mad as it may seem.
Do tell!
matter how improbable, anything is possible. If the Weaver tells the truth, we have some serious work ahead of us.
So, what do you think, Source Hunter? The glint in your gaze and the set of your brow suggest to me that you've not given up on our dear old Rivellon. Not just yet. No, with you searching out Starstone, I believe we'll mend the tapestry in no time. We'll find out just who you are and how exactly to send the void back to wherever it came from. But you'll need a way to travel between Rivellon and this homestead, won't you? Who wouldn't want to see what fantastic changes your search will yield? And who knows what the Weaver might discover about you? Luckily, the power of portals is known to you, so I'll let you in on the little secret of how to transport back and forth from the end of time. Just, you know, don't go sharing it around. Never know who we can trust these days. Off you go, then. You've Starstone to find, and I've a tapestry to examine. Surely there must be some clue here as to how on earth you're related to the end of time. Cross my heart, hope to fade in the void, I honestly don't know. But ask her. If she claims it is so, perhaps she knows why. Like the imp said to the ballista operator, shoot! Wouldn't it just? Would that I had a Starstone sightseeing guide, but alas, such a booklet does not exist. Just like yourselves, Starstones are curiously absent from history, both in my writings and on the tapestry of time. From what I can gather, though, they were once cherished by devious sorcerers whose reign ended long ago. The stones are therefore most likely to be found in the ancient places of this world. Ruins, caves, the lairs of long-forgotten evils. Those are the dens you should frequent. 2 more pieces of advice. Don't go unarmed, and consult with my agent. Neither do I, but the mere fact that activated Starstone has set the Weaver of Time weaving again more than implies that it and the Void Dragon are natural enemies. This in turn more than implies that you are the Void's natural enemy, for it is you who is setting new events in motion. You who is handing the Weaver new threads. And that which she is weaving is more than an ornament to decorate the shelter plane. It is both history and future history. It is all of time. We may not understand the how yet, but our aim is clear. We shall save creation from the grip of the Void. Now, isn't that a lovely mission? Oh, I don't know if I'm more than those things per se, but having been given a divine mission does have its perks. Old age can't touch me, that's one. Immortality is mine as long as no one skewers me with a sword, and even then I'll be back in a jiffy. But of course I have a price to pay for something that is priceless. It is my duty to record all of history, and an arduous task that is. Not to mention how much stress that void out there is causing me. The end of time. I'll be out of a job. So, gather those Starstones so that we may know the history that was lost. Know so that we must not repeat what leads us to this dangerous precipice, but do better and close the dark eye of the void forever. Lonesome, observing the frontier of creation, surfing the vibrant tide of the eons, always approaching yet never reaching shore. Lonesome, being privy to all that has been and all that is. Well, yes, actually. I don't mean to complain, but one certainly doesn't mind a bit of company now and then. Perhaps you can imagine the profound pleasure it is to have made the Weaver's acquaintance after all these years. I can hardly wait to pick her brain about the great battle of the Sons of Sigurd. The last Rivellonian who remembers it died more than 7,000 years ago. Before you go, Source Hunter, a final word. Once you return to Rivellon, there will be someone waiting for you. My agent, my eyes and ears upon your world. I hope he'll be able to help you as much as he can. Time, I need hardly remind you, is of the essence.
How welcome you are upon this realm, our most honored guest. I hope you begin to find this place more familiar than it may yet seem. In the ethereal threads of eternity, do I record the deeds of gods and men, of beasts and spectral apparitions. The drift of continents through changing seas, the rise and fall of empires, the shift of every grain of sand on every beach, the fall of every raindrop on every world, the all but imperceptible touch of lovers' hands. This and all I chronicle without fault. Except, it seems, you. Ask, and I shall answer. I am the Weaver of Time, as I have told you, though my existence is one that falls behind and yet far exceeds the verb to be. I am but what I am, and that is task. It is the same for the historian. Chroniclers both are we of the epics of eternity. Perhaps we are one and the same. Task multiplied by 2. Who has made us? I do not know. Why have they done so? I do not know. Am I the beginning? And am I to be the end? Who shall say? Perhaps I am the first thing in creation. Perhaps I am creation. Perhaps I am the creator. Or maybe it is you. You who makes dying stars rekindle. Time alone will tell. Alas, the answers to those questions still elude me. You and Starstone remain the imperfections upon the tapestry. As yet. A hidden answer lies behind this veil of inscrutability, though, for the link between you and the stones reveals that your destinies are intertwined. I believe that starstones will not lead you to new places of wonder only. No. They will also lead to new knowledge through the restoration of the threads of old. I have no need for company, like I have no need for air or appetite or affection. All I need and all I am is time. And time is running out unless you remedy its decline. And yet, I do enjoy your companionship, for you may prove to become the cure that will heal my slipping soul. Quite so. Your absence, it should be an impossibility, but no matter where I look, you cannot be found. I do not know you, which makes you my one perennial imperfection, a blind spot in the eye of time. But perchance I may be cured of this blindness. Perchance the blemish may be undone, and time can be redeemed. What it is but a seed bereft of sun and water. What it could be, that is what the star stones will tell us. What it is but the end. What it could be is the end of ends. I reside in another realm altogether. But ever since the end of time appeared in these deep dark skies, I materialized here, as if forced to watch the one thing that is unwatchable, unendurable. A thankless task that you may yet free me from forever. I think that perhaps you can redeem time, because you create time. Indeed, you have set in motion an event I no longer held possible. Know that no longer I did weave. I sat here at the end of time and watched on as the void frays the fabric of time like a terrified god that fears the offspring of his own creations. But suddenly there was you. You who stirred the life within the stones. These stones, children of stars. They place new ribbons along my fingers like phantoms out of time. New threads emerged, and I began to weave anew. Starstone gives me new strands to braid into the tapestry. And because you give Starstone energy, it seems that you are creating time. These starstones, please, seek them so that time may yet be mended. Please, for the sake of all that lives and all that loves, seek them so that the void may yet devour itself alone.
The Lady of Time!
I have the last chest, the last chest, the last chest! If you believe yourself worthy of rifling through my ample treasures, I do dare you to prove it! Find my 4 sisters, no more than one in each of the realms of your wide world, and each by each, you'll discover how to open me!
One without a conclusive answer, though its resolution may lie in conception. Where you chronicle, I both chronicle and create. Where you arrive at conclusions, I spin origins besides. not? Why, nothing, of course. The great absence of all that even the gods cannot comprehend. It eludes us, like infinity, or the finality of tick-tocking time.
Source Hunters, I welcome you once again to the realm of Rivellon after your travels through the chasms of space. Nice to have found a shelter, wouldn't you agree? Where you can come to no harm.
I can't even smell the sea air over this rock.
I know the imp historian has told you about his agent on Rivellon, and that agent is I. So now that you know of the alliance between me and Sir Zigzax, let us turn to the business at hand. Starstone. And I'll be delighted to give it. Dark webs are being woven around these parts, and it is my firm belief starstones are the flies the sorcerer spiders are trying to catch. It can therefore hardly be a coincidence that Councillor Jake was a collector of the stones we seek. His foul murder and the plight of dying time must somehow be interconnected. That means the task you have been given remains crucial. Find the assassin that did away with Jake, for you're bound to stumble upon Starstone along the way. While you were being lectured by our friend the historian and the grande dame of time, I snuck into his house and had a look around. The advantage of being a cat, you know. You go where you please with impunity. And sometimes the lady of the house even rewards you with a slice of fresh herring. That's where I saw them in a cabinet. Mere slivers, but specks of starstones nonetheless. They lay there, silent and innocent, though bloody murder may have been committed in their name. Don't we all long for a sanctuary where our worldly troubles can be held at bay? A bed or a basket so snug it becomes, in a word, safety. But perhaps I speak only for myself, not for veterans such as yourselves that by necessity call any patch of ground they rest upon home. Like any cat worth its salt, though, I deeply cherish a secret refuge unbeknownst to anyone. To be able to repose without a care is such a precious circumstance, save it all too seldomly.
Steady. We'll be leaving as soon as we're packed
Let
up.
me phrase it like Zigzax might. A universe without time is like a pen without ink. A pointless instrument stripped of the potential of creation. It is void. It is death. It is nothing. I'll not pretend to have all the answers, all that I understand all that is happening here and out there among the stars, but I do know I'd rather err on the side of caution. If Zigzax worries, I worry. We are talking about a creature, after all, that has reclined among the divines as nonchalantly as you and I laze beside the hearths of home. I met him first, a long time ago, out in the wastes of Youthal Gore. He wondered aloud what on earth a cat was doing out there in the scorching desert, then shared what little food and water he had with him. So I told him who I was and showed him my human form. He laughed and marveled and told me stories about his travels. In the end, he even shared his great sorrow with me. The unspeakable thing you saw through his looking lens. I was awed and frightened, but swore to help him in any way I could. As of now, that includes helping the two of you. Oh, before you go, here, take this teleporter pyramid. A handy toy indeed that Zigzags asked me to give to you. You'll need the other one too if you want to make use of its powers, but alas, I seem to have misplaced it. Don't worry though. Use this one here and it'll take you straight to its twin. Now that this matter has been settled, hunters, I shall detain you no longer. But rest assured, I'll do my share of hunting too. So if you spot a white cat during your travels, do stop to say hello.
Slimy, reeking, rotting sea garbage.
If you are taking to the sea...
Unknown to all time, are you? Leave it to an imp to try to fill our minds with all manner of magical gobbledygook. I'll tell you who you are. Source hunters, members of the most esteemed order in Rivellon. Here to find out and grind out every last speck of dark magic in the realm. There, the enigma is solved.
Leaving as soon as
Plenty of fish in the sea, but I've got the foulest of the lot on my racks.
Steady, boys, steady.
What are you? You think I'm... No, comrade. You can keep the honor of being the object of the Space Imp's special interest all to yourself. I just hope this fancy of yours doesn't interfere with your real job, or have you forgotten that little detail already? You're a source hunter first, last, and always, comrade. I can't even smell the sea air over this rot. I can't even smell the sea air over this rot.
Size seal, shiver me timbers and sliver me heels.
Slimy, leaky.
So, what's the bad news? More orcs What about it?
The death man is nervous as a squirrel. I'm certain he's hiding something.
She said it, not me.
We'll have none of that, you hear? So, what's the bad news? More orcs rampaging through the docks? What do you think you're doing? So, what's the bad...
What's that gleam? Looks like the mortician is rather suspicious about Jake. What could Mayor Cecil, Captain Aureus, or Evelyn have to do with it?
So, what's the bad news? More orcs rampaging through the docks? How do you... Ah, the ledger, is it? Fool was I to leave it in the open. Or perhaps I even looked forward to being found out. Well, as you know, I have my suspects in the matter. What would you like to know? Plenty of us shopkeepers entrust the mayor with the spare keys to our businesses, you know. And he's the only person in town with a second copy of the key to the mortuary. He could have used it to sidle in without a peep, if he were so inclined. Aureus himself paid me a visit the night the body was delivered. Came rapping at my door in the frosty morning before the sun had even started peeping, and told me to tell him, and only him, if I noticed anything strange or suspicious about the remains. Can't see why he'd bothered to go through all that trouble, unless he knew something the rest of us don't. I know it sounds strange suspecting the doctor's apprentice of something so ghoulish as this, but there's few in this city could manage to transport a corpse without raising eyebrows.
It was she who delivered Jake's body from the inn to the mortuary. And there was something about her that night. Some kind of excitement. Seemed she could barely contain her thoughts. That there was something thrilling about to happen. I can't quite settle it in my mind how a young medical professional would have such a strange reaction to an occasion such as that. And this may or may not have anything to do with the whole rigmarole. But her master, Dr. Theleron, bought an old shack of mine, one overtaken by undead, for an exorbitant price considering what he was getting. I never did figure what he wanted it for, but he sure seemed eager. I never saw a widow less distraught at the death of her husband, and I've seen hundreds pass through my parlor. It was she who rang my bell just before the body was snatched, lured me outside claiming she needed air before discussing the funeral arrangements. Some accomplice could have sneaked in and grabbed the remains while I was comforting the oh-so-overcome Esmeralda. Sad story, that. I just concern myself with that gold's the only good thing to come out of this blasted affair, and I certainly plan on making some use of it. You know, I reckon Bertia really didn't get a fair shake in all this, did she? Here, take the money and give it to her. Times are hard enough as they are. Hey, stop that! So, what's the bad news?
Carried in the fabled wizard of hunted eggs.
Isn't so bad on a quiet day like this, is it?
It's locked.
bloody undead.
Never thought I'd see...
A source hunter! I'd like to report some dark magic. And I think I'm one of the last folks to hear, though that's the question. I was washing up. Lucky for the perpetrators, I was...
Whatever happened to that troop of eager...
Ah, hello. I suppose you're here to viciously Yes, she and I have a history. That's hardly a secret anymore. I quite doubt it was even a secret from Jake while he lived. As easy as it would be to pin suspicions on Esmeralda or I assure you that the affair was never so steamy and sordid as the busybodies around town make it out to be. Jake and Esmeralda had no great affection for each other. He had his interests, she had hers, and...
Tell me, Alistair, have you ever had the fortune of challenging the fabled wizard of Hunter's Edge?
Fortune? Ha! These days are lucky defeated by Alistair the Great.
They say he's privy to ancient and arcane secrets, the likes of which I doubt you could even fathom, old friend. Come now, Alistair. Surely you've met your match once or twice.
Ha! The closest I've got to my match is when I lingered along while lighting my pipe.
Oh, careful now. Your head's grown more swollen than saffrons, I dare say.
Whatever happened to that?
What? Oh, it's you! What news? Jake? Murdered, you say? Oh, yes. Yes, of course. Now I remember. Well, I'm sure the facts will prove me innocent. Keep investigating. You'll see for yourselves in time.
The Source Hunter.
The knight in see-through armor. To's Jagetta, friend.
Demonology for dumbbells. Ugh. I need something more advanced. Is there no new book to be discovered in this library?
Who placed this book here? A volume of poetry among novels? Urak! What mayhem!
The Lesser Key of Salacandras. Ugh, what nonsense. Is there no
Treasure!
new book to be discovered in this library?
Armor. Princess Buttercup with the blushing bottom. Stenteken. Esmeralda does have a propensity for all things naughty, hasn't she?
No, this isn't the grimoire I'm looking for. The Pseudomonarchia Daemonum. And the first edition
this
too.
book here.
Most
A volume
promising.
of poetry among novels? Urak! What mayhem!
Demonology for dumbbells. Ugh. I need something more advanced. The Pseudomonarchia Daemonum. And the first edition too. Most promising.
Volume 1, Volume 2. But where has the third one gone? Shatsu. Sometimes I think these books sprout little legs in the night.
The lesser key of Salakandras. Ugh, what nonsense. Is there no new book to be discovered in this library?
What? Oh, it's you! What news?
friends as the man with many cheeses?
What? Oh, it's you! What news? What? Oh, it's you! What news? Hey, stop that!
Not in the mood for cheese. That excuse is more holes than a slice of this fine almond there. Not in the mood for cheese. That excuse is more holes than a slice of this fine almond there.
Join the Stud Club if you've got an eye for farm potatoes.
Aaron has as many friends as the man with many cheeses.
Tall snake, wing of worm, brew and spice 'em, stir and churn.
Oh my God! What is going on here? First I have to shoo away a creeping white tomcat, and now there's a perfect stranger in my bathroom. Get out, will you? little mix-up indeed. I don't know what you and that horrible little imp...
Out! No!
If she
you
soaks and
please!
flowers stink much
This
longer,
room is
dear will smell
private.
this lady from a field away. I'll save a leg of something good for when she begins to starve.
All right, comrades.
Don't
Nothing
just
to see here.
stand there.
It's clear out.
Go!
Give the lady of the house a
Away
little
with
rouse.
The seven grant abundance!
What are you still doing here? Begone! That's enough of that now!
Out! No! If you please!
This room is private.
I can't even smell the sea air over this rot.
Steady, boys, steady. We'll be leaving as soon as we're packed up. I used to see your...
Move!